content creators, streamers, professional gamers, casual gamers, heck, anyone who at any time has thought of recording their gaming footage, you need to listen carefully as to what I'm about to say, because I have some groundbreaking news coming out of Elgato's corner for you. I've been very privileged. I was at CES 2020 and was at Elgato's stand. They had like a room where they're in the hotel, which they're like kitted out. It was more than a room, it was more like a little business lounge, and it had all of their products in it, including some of their scuff stuff. But I'm going to focus in on this gaming capture device that they announced. It's probably the biggest announcement, and then I'll touch on a couple of other things that they announced, and I got hands-on time with them. It was very cool, super privileged, and I got to meet Steggy. If you've been a viewer of my channel for a while now, you'll know that I'm a big fan of Elgato and their parent company Corsair, not to mention that they've decided to sponsor this channel, which I'm super grateful for. So I'm kind of living my dreams right now. So when Elgato does something fantastic, you're gonna hear about it from me. Trust, that's just how it's gonna be. So to get to the point, I introduce you to the Elgato 4K60S Plus. So what is it and what does it do, you may ask? Great questions, let's get into it. The 4K60S Plus is Elgato's new flagship game capture card, but it has a groundbreaking new feature that at the time of the release of this video makes it the only game capture card in the world that has this functionality. It allows you to capture game footage directly to an SD card at 4K 60 FPS. Remember, there are other devices that do this, but not at that resolution. It's incredible. Like, there are a lot of use cases for this. The ramifications of this technology are astounding. It allows content creators and streamers so much freedom in their work. For example, if you have a professional console gaming tournament that you need to attend and you want to capture some footage, you can plug the 4K60S Plus into your console at the tournament, turn it on, set it to your liking, press record, and voila. The 4K60S Plus will start capturing your gaming footage straight to an SD card without the need for a PC, game capture software, or OBS. This while you can play any game at its original resolution with zero lag between the game footage and what the capture card captures using a 4K 60 FPS pass-through. The same goes if you're attending a press event. I've had to do it a couple of times where they allow you to capture footage. They don't have capture cards. You have to bring your own like game capture and a notebook. I've been there. I did a Metal Gear Solid one, and it was just like a network of cables, and then I didn't update my software, and they didn't have internet. It was just a mess. Now I can just have the box in my camera case, in my camera bag, and just go. The onboard HEVC encoding means running out of space should not be an issue, as the encoding works to drastically decrease the file size. To put this in perspective, according to Elgato, you can record up to 7 hours of 4K HDR footage with a 256 gig SD card. Just think about that. That's like 5 Call of Duty campaigns. Not bad. The 4K60S Plus also works to memorize the signatures of different SD cards. So if you're using a 500 gig SD card with a high bitrate, for instance, and you want to swap it for a smaller SD card, the 4K60S Plus will memorize the bitrate settings for each SD card that you use in future. If you do end up using your PC to capture footage, Elgato software is incredibly useful and has some nifty features. For one, it allows you to retroactively capture footage if you forget to hit the record button, similar to the 4K Utilities flashback recording, and you can record microphone audio through a separate channel. So you have 2 files. That's, if you're editing gameplay, you understand how important that is. The 4K60S Plus is also compatible with OBS and USB 3.0. The 4K60 Pro is $70 cheaper at the moment with much the same functionality, except it cannot record to SD cards. Thus, for the choice of SD card over PCIe, we think that the $400 price tag on the 4K60S Plus is worth the investment. I hope you guys understand now why I'm so hyped for the 4K60S Plus. It's such a mouthful though, 4K60S Plus. It's the 60 and the S together. It's like a snake, but it's a good thing. Snakes have bad connotations. Thanks, Bible. Elgato are constantly pushing the frontier of what is possible with game capture, and to say that it is now possible to capture gameplay footage without a second PC or OBS, it's not refreshing. It's super handy. I can't wait to see what the 4K60S Plus can do when it's released, possibly as early as January 15th if Amazon is to be believed, and what Elgato does next. So let's keep our eyes peeled. I'm really amped for this. Okay, but before we sign out, there are a couple of other things that I want to talk about. You may have seen my video, but I really love the Elgato key lights. They announced the Key Light Air, which I got hands-on time with. It's a smaller version of the key light, and it comes with a base stand as well, not a clamp, so it sits on the desk. And it's super bright. It's got 80 Osram LEDs in it with a multi-layer diffusion technology. which allows it to look like a softbox. And it's got edge-lit LED panel outputs of 1,400 lumens, which is extremely impressive. And it's got color temperatures between 2,900 and 7,000 K. These are for instance, if you've got space on your desk and you don't want to clamp it, or you don't have, these are a little bit more cost effective than having the key lights, or you don't need as much light. This is a great solution to include as many different people and as many different wallets as possible. So I'm glad they introduced it, and it looks nice. It functions exactly the same as the key lights. It uses Wi-Fi and the control center to change the brightness and the temperature. So from what I see and what I know of the key lights, I highly recommend it. The key lights are currently lighting my face right now. They announced the K95 RGB Platinum XT's dedicated macro keys that will function exactly like the Stream Decks with the Stream Deck software. If you're a streamer and you need a keyboard, this is gonna be a must-have, because the buttons that are on the left-hand side of the keys, you can even get like blue keycaps that it comes with, will now be controlled through the Stream Deck software, which is extremely helpful. For instance, when I'm streaming, I've already got some of my hotkeys linked to system-wide hotkeys like mute and deafen Discord as my plus key on my numpad above my enter key, but now I can link it to my Stream Deck and control it exclusively with those buttons and not have to lift my hand off of the mouse onto the plus key, which is what I have to do now. If you don't own a Stream Deck and are looking to get a keyboard, you can get 2-in-1, obviously, which is really nice. But if you have a Stream Deck already and you need some, like, I would call them like micro functionality, stuff that you are quickly using all the time, not necessarily scene swapping, but anything that controls your microphone or the lights in your studio, or I have camera zooms in my stream, like those kind of things where I don't have to lift my hands off of my controls onto a different device while I'm playing is really cool. I can include these kind of behaviors into the way I play my games without having to remove my hands off of my devices, and then use like scene switching and so on my Stream Deck XL, which is what I plan to do. All right, that kind of wraps it up. What did you guys think of what Elgato launched at CES, or announced at least? I'm particularly excited about what they do. Again, I've told the story like millions of times. Every time I wanted to buy Elgato products out of South Africa, because they weren't stocked here at the time, I would always like travel for a press event, and I would like ship it to my hotel room or my friend's house where I'm staying. I'm sleeping on someone's couch or whatever, and I'd like ship it back home. But now they're available here, and they're ubiquitous, which is really exciting. Before I left London, I shipped like when we shipped the house stuff in a freight, I made sure I got the green screen over here. This is all way before I was sponsored. I'm a massive fan of what they do. They really, every time they announce a product, it's always just like left field, unconventional tool that I never thought that I needed for my streams, which is much better than like a traditional thought process for a product, because you always think that you'll need like a camera, but they release a cam link, you know, or they'll release, I don't know. Can't say anything. Anyway, bye guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Cheers.